I really want to encourage people to take this a lot more seriously. The biggest hit to profitability of a good business is being shut down where you can't trade for a month, because you go to zero. And it's worse than zero because you're still getting fees for having inventory and all your people. Let's talk a little bit about how a non-US resident setting up to sell into the US marketplace can really master their Seller Central setup. What are the top priorities for them to cover?
The top two, you have to make absolutely sure you're clear on your business information, business address, business documents, separated from your personal information and your personal documents. You want to make sure that the address matches exactly what you put in the new Amazon Seller Central account, right? Periods, commas, abbreviations, all must match. And what happens is any little mismatch is going to kick you out and the account won't be verified. And then you're going to get to extra verification, which we'll talk about in a minute. Taking a step back from a strategy point of view, if your plan is you want to sell in the US and you're a new seller and you'd like to set up this single member LLC disregarded, the mistake a lot of people make is they'll set up the Amazon account in their own name just to test it, to get it set up. If I set up an Amazon account in my name and I set up a single member LLC disregarded, now I want the LLC name to be the business name and the seller profile, right? Because let's be honest, if the business is in your name, generally that gives a bad marketing message. You're a sole prop, a sole trader. You don't make much money yet. You're not sure what you're doing. So when you go to update the account and the LLC name as a single member LLC, as we mentioned earlier in the tax interview, the first question is a little bit tricky. Are you an individual? Are you a business? And you think you're a business because you formed an LLC. That sounds like a business. You got a tax ID number, right? But from the tax interview point of view, they look at you an individual. And of course, this is after you set up the account, then you go to the tax interview, then you hope and pray you don't get an email 3 days later that says your account's not verified, and you get some general statement about some type of utility bill, which we'll get to in a minute.
Yeah.
So that's a little nuance that we have to be careful with when we set up our Amazon account. So you don't want to shoot yourself in the foot and just nilly-willy go set up the account and then figure out later what would be the best approach. So that's really the big picture, step number one.
It's, again, a European, Australian, South African who is jumping onto Amazon. They think they've got an LLC. They think that's a corporate, right? So they don't get the concept of this flow-through single member LLC, where from Amazon's perspective, you're a sole prop, right? You are the business, and therefore they want all the KYC stuff for you as an individual. Now that I've seen sellers doing 10 million a year who set up like that, and then their business gets frozen. You're out of business, right? You're down for weeks to try and get that resolved. So doing that properly on day one, so important. I totally agree.
And guess what? They don't like changes in the first 90 days. They don't like you to change the address or the bank account. And then, like you said, you're up and running. Everything looks good. Then they shut your account down. Yeah. Then you have to get verified. And the verification process is very challenging. And with AI, it's only making it worse short term because it's learning. And you may get a false positive where you provided the right documents, but they still reject it. That's very difficult to deal with.
Yeah, agreed. So I do see that a lot with startups. And quite frankly, I see that even with people who are already doing $1 million a year, right? Somehow they got through 4 years ago, and now there's an issue.
And what people don't know is when you submit something to Amazon, most people are using templates and things that get rejected. With AI, a lot of things are getting rejected might have been accurate. So that's hard to overcome. And then people submit documents where it might be, okay, you need extra verification. Here's a utility bill. Something doesn't match. So if you're a seller looking to launch things, for the fourth quarter and take advantage of sales, don't, come to us on October 1st thinking you can get set up in 2 weeks.
The Seller Central setup can be quite complicated. The thinking here is There's no shortcuts when setting these things up. Yeah, to spend a little bit of money up front saves you the risk of this business being shut down because of a painful verification. The reality is you need someone to walk through this process with you.